It might look like I'm going from one level of pain to the next level of pain, challenge, or is working together for my good. The devil meant it for evil, but God turned it for my good. All things work together for my good. And I gained a lot of strength just reading the story or thinking about the story, that sometimes it's not a straight road from dream to reality or from promise to fulfillment. Sometimes there will be detours. Sometimes there will be not just detour, you might even go back. There might be big issues, but it's working for my good.
There is purpose in our pain.
That's right. That's right.
Whatever pain that we experience, it can teach us something.
Yes.
And we can also use it.
Yes.
And God can use it actually.
That's true.
To reshape us.
Yes.
And put us on a track that we never ever expected.
Yes.
But will end in praise.
Yeah.
If you're serious about how you show up in your relationships, your walk with God and life,
well, that makes you one of us. It's Anu and Ololade here, and you're welcome to Let's Toast to Life.
In every episode, we have honest conversations about relationships, your fave, personal growth, and faith.
Sounds like what you love? Then plug in.
And let's toast to life together.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Let's Toast to Life. How's it going, baby girl?
Pieces.
Peace.
We move.
Peace. If you're here with us, we're giving each other like 2 fingers in the air right now. Anyways, you know how you can know, at least you can kind of guess the age of someone when you see how they take pictures. Do you agree? So like if you know, if you see someone taking a picture and he's doing 2 fingers,
like
deuces, just this person is definitely was born around the 1980s, 1990s.
But funny enough, I feel like even Gen Zs do the peace sign.
No, Gen Zs don't really do it the way we that were born at.
Yes, but you know the thing, I feel like the way I pose now, besides smiling, I'm getting older. I just feel like I'm getting older. Like there are some poses that I'm like, hey, why did I do my lip? Like, why did I pout my lips this way? And I realized that this is how people of this, not even old people, but like my generation, you know. Whereas I see how the Gen Zs and, you know, is it Alpha or whatever they call them, how they pose, and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm getting older. In the same way, I see the way my mom takes pictures. Sorry, mom. I have to bring you into this. Sometimes I look at how my mom is taking pictures, and the phone is sometimes like she's looking down at the phone instead of putting the phone up to make it look like a proper selfie. But yeah, it shows that we're actually aging.
Yeah, so your
of us will meet it in front.
Your pose can reveal your age. That's an interesting one anyways. All right. Well, I hope you all are doing well. Our listeners, thank you all for always listening, tuning in, sharing our podcasts. We're saying this early so you guys know that we can at any point appreciate you, not only at the end of the podcast, but even right at the beginning. So let's jump into today's conversation. We're thinking about how the Bible is such an interesting book. We're believers, we're Christians, and we read the Bible. And one of the things that I think about when I study the Bible is that the stories of people who went through very, very, very difficult experiences, now when we read their stories, it makes sense to us because we already know the outcome. For example, Jonah. Imagine you were Jonah inside the womb of a fish. You know, or inside the...
I don't know if it's the womb. I don't even know if fish is a womb. I don't know.
Let's just say inside the belly. Imagine, I don't even know if he was alive, if he was thinking, if he was in coma, you know. But now it's like a very amazing story where we're like, okay, 3 days later, Jonah came out, you know. And now in the New Testament, you see how Jesus uses the story of Jonah being in the belly of the fish to describe his death and burial and ascension, you know. So it makes sense now. But what would it look like if we were Jonah or any of those examples? So is there any Bible character that fascinates you, and when you think about their journey, their experience, you feel there's so much we can maybe learn from, but just try to even feel what they felt?
Yeah, I'm not even trying to feel what they felt. I don't want to feel what they felt.
At least imagine it.
But of course, like there are some that are relatable in some sort of way, not necessarily the story itself, but maybe the similarity or how their experiences are experiences that we in our own generation also go through, right? So I would think about the story of Naomi and Ruth, right? The book of Ruth, it's in the Old Testament for those who don't know. Let me give you guys a quick, should I say, summary of the story. There was a woman named Naomi in the Bible. She got married, had 2 sons. The 2 sons also got married. So, her family is complete. Everything is good. Then there is famine in the land where she's living, Bethlehem, that makes her and her family relocate. So this is first something we can relate with, right? The fact that we relocated from Nigeria, we're here in Germany. Not like you relocated directly from Nigeria to Germany. Yours is a bit different from
but
mine.
It's still the same context.
But it's still the same context where you are looking for opportunities and then you leave home, you leave what is familiar. So this is what happened to their family, right? But you would not believe that within the span of 10 years, she lost her husband, Naomi I'm talking about, and her 2 sons.
That's massive.
I mean, let's just first pause and think about that. Like you relocate for greener pastures,
to a foreign land,
thinking it would be kind to you. And for whatever reason, it's bad occurrences. Like not just 1, but 3 within the span of 10 years. Imagine someone losing first their husband. So you've been with someone, you married them, you had 2 sons that got married, which means that you and your husband have lived for at least maybe 30 years together. Right? So this is like her partner in everything. And she lost her husband. As if that was not enough, the 2 sons also. Like it's so the grief is really crippling. It's jarring. I don't know the adjective to use, but it's very painful. So for me, I can relate on some sort of level because I've lost a loved one before, right? And I believe most of us listening would have lost someone that we know of. It may not be family, but it could be a friend or a colleague or something like that. So I love the Bible because from some biblical characters, you can just see that you're not alone. Whatever it is that you think you're experiencing, there's someone, And I feel like when you talk about grief, Naomi's grief was heightened. So after the whole thing happened where she lost the sons, remember the sons were married, so she had 2 daughter-in-laws. Later on, she heard that things were better in her home country. And decided to go back. So she told her daughters to stay, like to
like find your life.
Like there's nothing binding you and me together, right? The person that you married
is dead.
I cannot give you new sons to marry because it would take forever because I don't even have a husband. So she told her daughters-in-law to, like part ways. And one of them was crying, but she said goodbye and left. The other said, you know what, I'm gonna stay with you. And this daughter-in-law is known as Ruth, right? So Ruth, let's think about Ruth. Like what could have been going on in her mind? Let's not forget that it's not just Naomi that is grieving. Ruth was also grieving because she lost a husband. Naomi lost a son, but Ruth lost a husband, right? And they didn't have children together. Ruth decided that she was going to stay with Naomi and follow her back to Bethlehem. That tells me something about Naomi's personality. You know how some people don't have good relationships with their mother-in-law? In fact, there are people who have this very demonic mindset of, I would wish for my mother-in-law to die before I marry my husband, whoever I marry. There are people who think like that.
It's terrible too.
I know, right? It's
like you're wishing to, when you marry and then you have a son, you're wishing that you also die.
Exactly.
Before your son gets married.
That's some people are like, mother-in-laws are so terrible and they would not want their mother-in-laws to be alive. I get it, yes. of course, some mother-in-laws can be terrible, but let's look at Naomi. For Ruth to decide that even though there was nothing holding her and Naomi together, she was still going to follow her back home. That tells me that Naomi had a good, should I say, character. She was a good woman.
Yeah.
And so was Ruth.
Naomi didn't even feel entitled. You know how someone can say, no, you married my son, so you're legally mine. You know, you belong to this family. So, oh yeah, both of you, let's go together. Let's go back home. She didn't even respond that way. She was more like, okay, I'm grieving. I've suffered a lot of losses, you know. I'm going back home. Ladies, you know, find your way, that kind of thing. Like just giving them that liberty to make their choice. And of course, they made their choice because Ruth stayed behind and the other lady left.
So it's a great point that you mentioned, you know, and just following on that, the loyalty that Ruth had for her mother-in-law, where she's like, wherever you go, I'm gonna go. Like I have nowhere to return to, even though of course she had her own family. So when they went back to Bethlehem, their home country, of course people noticed that she had come back, but she came back without her husband, without her sons. And mind you, back then they didn't have technology. There was no technology where you'd be able to post obituary, rest in peace. So it would have been that the people did not know what had happened to Naomi. They found out when she came back. Can you imagine the shame? Like you relocate and then you come back and people are like, what is there to show for it?
So
like so you left
and you came back worse off than
worse off. That's another thing. Anyway, so because of the weight of pain, Naomi was like, you people, please don't call me Naomi anymore. Naomi means pleasant. Something that is, you know, sweet, nice, beautiful. She's like, call me Mara, which means bitter. Because things that have happened to me, I cannot carry this name Naomi. It doesn't reflect my circumstance. You know, and so as time went on, Ruth and Naomi lived together. Ruth got a job. With the help of Naomi. And
Naomi gave us some wise counsel.
Because Naomi was like, okay, now that you are still in your prime, you're still young, you can marry. Naomi just used style, you know, looked at her community and she was like, there's this man that I want to link you up with.
The power of linkage.
But this is what you have to do. And so she gave her steps on what to do to get close to that man, which is quite interesting because you know how society generally frowns at women shooting their shots.
No.
But in the Bible,
there's a way to do it.
Naomi asked Ruth to position herself.
There's positioning.
You can position yourself for you to be visible to the man that will choose you. That's a lesson for our single sisters. Maybe you're not positioning yourself enough. Maybe you're hiding your Instagram profile. How do you want that man to see you? You know, so take that lesson from Ruth and Naomi. Because this is ancient wisdom. If they did it back then and it works. Because this man got married to her. You know, so not to go into the nitty-gritty of it, but at the end of the day, what started like a good story, happy family, and went into a season of grief and emptiness ended up now becoming a season of joy. Because at the end of the day, Naomi was able to get Ruth married to a prominent man in the society. And this man took great care of her. They had a child. And that child, you know, ended up being part of the ancestors of Jesus Christ.
She basically got herself into that
genealogy. So she got herself into the genealogy of Christ. Just because of her loyalty, not just, but amongst other things. So what I've learned is that there is purpose in our pain.
That's right.
Whatever pain that we experience, it can teach us something. And we can also use it. And God can use it actually.
That's true.
To reshape us. And put us on a track that we never ever expected. But will end in praise. Because the story of Ruth is just exactly like that. She didn't expect what happened to her, but she also didn't expect the ending. of her life.
No,
that
no.
she would be married to a prominent man and her life would turn out to be what it ended up being.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
There's purpose
I mean,
in
what
pain.
more can I say? Naomi changed her name back to Naomi. I don't know about that, but of course, like we see that it ended well. She became a grandmother, you know. Of course, she still dealt with the grief, but at least it's something. It ended well.
Yeah. And you know, there's something I want to bring from the story of Naomi and Ruth, but more on the part of Naomi. You know, we published an episode 2 weeks ago about names, you know, how important a name is. And sometimes if the parents are very connected to God and receive good names for their children, those names could be prophetic of the future of that kid. So look at Naomi, whose name meant sweet. You would expect that everything about her life will be sweet and pleasurable, right? But that did not look like her life for the most part of it, right? Where she experienced the losses and all of that. But that name still was prophetic because our end was sweet. But like many of us, when we go through different challenges in our lives, we are very tempted to allow our present circumstance to define who we are, you know. But sometimes our names are prophetic messages that God is giving to us about our life and our future. So for example, my name is called Mercy, and there were many seasons in my life where I knew that it was only mercy that could speak for me. That's just what I wanted to add here.
Well, you know, because you said that we sometimes use our circumstance to define who we are. I feel like it's human of us. Even Naomi did it, right? So thank God for God that even in spite of us missing our core identity because of a temporary moment of disappointment, he's still faithful to keep his promise.
Yes.
If God has said he's gonna do whatever it is he's gonna do, regardless of our process, the outcome will still be the same, you know. So I just wanted to put that out there that yes, we all experience that. I'm sure there were times where you also felt like my season does not match what God has told me about my life. What is going on here?
Yeah.
You know, and those moments of deep reflection, introspection, and also even anxiety, doubt, those negative thoughts that come up. But through God's mercy, we're able to bring ourselves out and, you know, keep moving, keep it moving. And thank God that in the end, we will now look back and be like, okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Also, remember that, I mean, you said it in the beginning, we're looking at their story now, like looking back, but they were living in that experience then and they didn't know what the future would look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And that's the benefit of the Bible, right? Where through the scriptures we are able to gain perspective. From the stories that we read, it gives us faith, it gives us hope. You know, one story that I always think about when I'm going through any form of challenge or delay is the story of Joseph. For me, that story is such a life transforming story because
do you want to tell us about
imagine young boy, right? Just young boy. So I guess he was second to the last born because he only had one younger brother, right? So imagine Joseph, young boy, just slept like every other young child, right? Had a dream. If you have a dream, what is the problem with sharing with your family? Who else do you want to share the dream with?
Bill.
I mean, you share with your
loved ones.
Your loved ones now.
Loved in quotes.
So he goes ahead and shared the dream with his loved ones. What happened next? Planned.
Who planned?
His brothers. Like, oh, you want to be our master. They planned. They wanted to even kill him. Can you imagine?
A dream.
Like, that's the highest level of betrayal. Betrayed by the very people that love you. Or that you, at least that you love, or that is from family. Betrayal from family. So this guy was betrayed. Then thankfully, they didn't kill him. An idea came up in between that, let's just sell him up.
They would have even killed him.
Yes.
If
I'm saying
the people that were buying slaves were not passing by.
Just at that curious moment, something happened. They sold him. As if that was not good enough. Okay, he got to a new country working as a slave. Okay, no problem. I can work as a slave. I can be helping. But he found favor in the sight of his master, and his master, started giving him more responsibilities and all of that. Young boy, young and healthy. His master's wife started choking eye. hey. And then the guy is like, okay, I know where I'm coming from. I know my God. And according to the values that I have, I cannot sleep with you, man. Told the woman, man, I can't. I won't sin against God and sin against my master. I won't sleep with you. This woman went, she lied against him. Guess what? They believed the woman, sent my dear Joseph to prison. Can you imagine that throughout all this, the dream is there in his mind though. He remembered that he has seen a dream about him being the head, him, being a leader. Then he went to the prison. In the prison, he found favor still there. So when he came and joined him in the prison, I said, "Don't worry, I'll remember you when I'm out." The person came out of prison, forgot him.
Why would the person remember him?
Because Joseph had the gift of dreaming and interpreting dreams. So he helped the cupbearer while the cupbearer was in the prison. And the cupbearer was very close to, the bosses there in the land. And so they was like, "Okay, don't worry. As soon as I'm out of here, I'm going to help you." Forgot about him.
But let's even look at that aspect of being able to interpret dreams. I can imagine having that gift. Imagine that I have the gift of dreaming and my dream always comes true. People will be coming to me, and I could just make a business out of it.
In merchandise, yeah.
That's a cool gift to have.
But imagine you have such a cool gift and you're still going from one issue to another issue, one problem to another problem. It's like just crazy, back to back. And then guess what happened? At the end of the day, everything that he saw as a dream became reality. He became a leader in Egypt at a very, very important time where there was famine, back in Israel. His family had to come sojourn. They didn't even know that they would ever meet their brother there. But somehow it just happened that it was for a time like that. So when I think about Joseph's story, I don't know if he complained, but it's an example of something that the Bible did not record any point where he complained. There was no case where he was like, "Why me? What is happening to me?" It was just a story of someone who was just, from what I saw, he was just like, "Okay, this is what has happened to me. You guys meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." And for me, that shows me his mindset, that for every pain and every challenge that he went through, he just kind of believed that it was working together for his good. And that is how I learned to live my life. That it might look like I'm going from one level of pain to the next level of pain, challenge, or is working together for my good. The devil meant it for evil, but God turned it for my good. All things work together for my good. And I gained a lot of strength just reading his story or thinking about his story. That sometimes it's not a straight road from dream to reality or from promise to fulfillment. Sometimes there will be detours. Sometimes there will be not just detour. You might even go back. There might be big issues, but it's working for my good. It's working for my good. That is a story that really, 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 really inspires me.
And the fact that you hear the dream, like Joseph had the dream. He saw that his future was going to be bright, but he had no idea the price that he was going to pay. Not a clue that he would be betrayed, sold into slavery.
Yep. Falsely
accused and put into prison. For years, I think.
Yeah.
That journey must have been a journey.
Yeah.
Would I want to be Joseph? No, thank you.
But we are all Josephs in different areas.
Yes, but like Joseph with his own. That God will show me the full picture.
Yeah.
And then I'll not be doing
And like I said, the beautiful thing about the Bible is it gives us examples that we can learn from.
True.
So when we look at different stories, we might not experience exactly what they experienced, but we can learn from them. So it helps us with our life today. So like you talked about Naomi, right? Sometimes you just need the courage to go back. Sometimes you just need that courage to say, "Okay, I don't know how I'm going to feel when people see me thinking that I would come with so much wealth. I haven't left this land for years, but now I'm coming back with nothing. As a matter of fact, I'm coming back with a huge loss, but I need the courage to still go back and face the shame and trust that God will turn my shame into glory." That could be your own lesson. Take home from there. It could be also like with Ruth, that I don't know what the future will look like, but I have a strong conviction that I must be with this person. There's nothing beautiful about her. She has lost her husband. She lost her son. She's as impoverished as I am. So there's nothing nice. If I want to choose a mentor, a leader, there's nothing for me to see. But I feel a strong conviction that I will be with this person, and you stay there. And after some time, God, through that person, would give you an idea or give you a direction, and then you become like Ruth. That might be the lesson. Different lessons to learn from the stories of people in the Bible. And so while we don't pray to be Joseph that would dream about beautiful things, and then your life is just one trouble to the next. The beautiful, amazing thing about the Bible, amongst many other things that the Bible teaches us, is that it gives us the examples of people who have gone through life, and we can learn from them, so that while we go through our own journey, we are armed with knowledge, with principles, with values, with different things that can
encouragement
with encouragement.
Yeah. Because you, during the course of your statements, like early on, you mentioned why me. And I really like that why me question, because I've asked it before.
You say you really like it.
Yes. Why me? Why Joseph? Why Naomi? Why Ruth? Like, why did these things happen to these people? You know, sometimes I go through stuff and ask myself, did I do anything to deserve this? If I did something different, could the outcome have been different? I would never really know the answers to those questions, but the Bible is quite encouraging. And when I'm not going to talk about David today, but like, I usually tell myself that David is one of the biblical characters that I resonate with the most, because he was also someone that had his own journey, right?
Yeah, sure.
King, he was anointed king, but before he became king, his life was in danger, serious danger. But through his process, I saw how he would stay with God and be honest about what he's going through. He was so vulnerable with God.
He would tell God, because many are the people that are against me. Many are those who
he
like, say that, where is your God?
Where's your God? You know, but the next verse, he's like, God, where are you? I don't feel you so close to me. Nevertheless, I believe that you are here. Like, David was the kind of person that was very honest. Like, he was telling God exactly what he was going through. Yeah. He was carrying God along. He was keeping God in copy of his life circumstances. And that's one thing that I can learn in spite of my why me question. So, because David also asked why me in different ways, you know, like, why have you forsaken me? Why this? Why that? It's okay to ask, but don't stay there. It's what I've learned. Don't stay in that self-pity or that drowning emotion. When you go to God and you say, God, why? You end with, nevertheless, I trust you. I know that these two will pass. You're with me. It's difficult. I'm not going to lie. I'm in pain. I'm struggling. Help me, you know? So I really like that about the Bible.
Yeah. You know, finally, we just want to encourage everyone who is listening to us. You know, the Bible is such a life-transforming book. And that is the reason why reading the Bible should not just be out of, you know, religious obligation. It's important that if you're a Christian listening to us, you read your Bible, because the very thing that you are going through, you might just find the answer in the Bible. And that's it. That's what we have for you all today. Thank you for listening. We hope this episode blessed you. If it did, we encourage you to please go ahead and share.
Be a blessing also.
Share, be a blessing. Share it to someone. Encourage someone with this episode and say, I listened to this episode. It blessed me. I want it to bless you too. And that would be great. And if you've not followed us on our social media platform, like on YouTube, we have Let Toast to Life podcast on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, comment, also on every other platform. We appreciate you all, and we wish you a wonderful rest of your week.
Toodles.
Ciao.